All right, everyone. Episode 7, Content with Creation. Jose Gonzalez here. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I'm so excited for this next guest on this wonderful show. You might have seen him over the years on YouTube, on the Ring the Belle YouTube channel. You might have seen some of his work if you've been following Chicago Mag or even NBC Universal. The marvelous, the fabulous DS Shin. DS, how are you?
Hello, hi. I didn't know we were going to talk all about my official work at NBC and Chicago Tribune and all of that. I guess I should have dressed more appropriately, but I'm
wearing a college hoodie. It's fine. You come as you are.
It's off my office hour, and I'm feeling very Wendy Chu.
Yes.
And this is... Actually, I don't know if you guys know, but this is my bedroom, and this is just a little corner.
I had no idea. I thought that was in your living room.
No, it's just a small corner in my bedroom. So everyone I don't really invite a lot of people lately, but before they were like, do you film OnlyFans? Because there's a camera in the bedroom, but I don't film OnlyFans.
I mean, never say never. You're ready to go if you need to. So.
I don't know. I can't even pee in public, so I don't know if I can do other stuff in public / camera.
Could be worse. But yeah, I mean, thank you for joining me. It's not too often where you're on this side of an interview. Normally you're working with a lot of legendary women in your realm. I
know. So when you asked me to interview me about me, and I'm like, really? You want to talk about me? But yeah, I'm very excited about it. I saw a couple of your episodes. The one with Ella J, yes. Which I'm always wondering what she's up to. So that was a good way to spy into her legendary work.
Oh yeah, we love Ella J around these parts. I mean, first follow-up interview as well too. She's had like the craziest last 2 months, and we're recording this on her birthday, so it's going to air very much later. But happy birthday, Ella!
Happy birthday.
Yes, I mean, thank you again for being here. I know you've actually had quite an interesting journey to kind of see where you've ended up. I mean, obviously to start, I mean, you were born in South Korea and made your way over to the U.S. So what was that like, early life over there?
Yeah, it was good. I was born in Seoul, you know, if you all remember the mega hit Gangnam Style.
Oh, yes.
That's where I'm from. It's the south side of Seoul, so I'm from there. I don't know. For me, that's like a regular upbringing, so I can't really, I don't know how different it is. But I learned English watching pro wrestling.
Wow.
Yeah, because there's, you know how, the gay guys usually get very empowered by powerful women? Mm-hmm. I got really empowered by female pro wrestlers. And mostly because I think on TV, they were the strongest women on TV. So I was like, I really like it. So I learned some of the weirdest words first, like abduction, vengeance, chick kick. Those are the words I picked up the first. And I called my English teacher slut. I got in big trouble. But my mom was pretty happy about that because she was an English teacher before at elementary schools. So she tried her best to have me learn English. It did not work, but then she saw me just randomly start speaking all these promo. So she was very happy about it. So that's how I learned English. Disney Channel.
I mean, there's always power to kind of find your own journey with things, especially something as crazy as language. So obviously around that time, what was that era of wrestling that you were watching?
So I really started around 1999/2000. That's when I first started. But I think when I really got freaking into it was 2003. That's when I got really obsessed. And if you think about it, it's all around English lesson because you hear them talk, so it's listening. I gotta read English because all the reports first come from the U.S., so I want to know before everyone in Korea knows and translate. So I have to go read it. Yeah. Speaking because I was following them, doing promo of my own. Look at me. This is what a real woman looks like. And then I wrote fan letters, so it was a whole all around English lesson for me. It worked out.
So was that probably the biggest Western influence you had when you were growing up over there?
Well, that, and then I love Disney Channel, Liz McGuire, That's So Raven. I love that. I mean, we have access to a lot of Hollywood and all that. Mind you, I'm from the South Side. Yeah. I'm the Southern Belle. Yes. Of South Korea, not the North Korea. So thankfully,
the good side,
the culture we're open to Western culture. Yeah.
Nice. I mean, obviously, Korean culture is booming right now, too, especially on the music scene. Seeing things like BTS and Blackpink do so well all over the world. It's phenomenal to kind of see that representation. And then I know around that time, it's just like, it felt like the early 2000s was such a fun time for a lot of things. So music, wrestling, television, which you alerted to. So, yeah, really cool to hear how that came about.
And I love K-pop. And I mean, because it's like it's a music that I grew up with, so I obviously love K-pop. And then now it got so popular in America, and everyone's like, "Do you love K-pop too?" And I'm like, I grew up with it. It's just my music. No, what I love seeing Korean culture, just food, skincare, movie, TV shows, like just dominating it. It makes me very proud.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much love for heritage and culture. I feel like now we're starting to really appreciate a lot more cultures, or even if it's something that might be foreign to us, we're learning more and really trying to accept a lot more, which has come a long way even in the last 20 years, which I could say, being born and raised in the U.S., just seeing how much more diverse things are coming, things that were avoided 20 years ago are really being embraced now, which is cool to see. So, I mean, obviously you did end up migrating over to the U.S. Can you talk about kind of like what led you over stateside?
Yeah, so I went to Northwestern University in Evanston, Chicagoland. So, yeah, I wanted to study media journalism in America, and Northwestern has a really good journalism program, but it also has really good economics program, which was a major that got my mom very excited. So I did double major in econ and film, actually. So those are my two studies. Yeah, and then after Northwestern, I got a job in media, which I was very happy about. So I got to stay.
Nice. I mean, did you always kind of see yourself being more of a presenter when it came to doing a lot of media and production? Or did you always kind of want the behind the scenes?
Not at all. I mean, especially because I'm ESL. Today, I'm like fine with English, I think. But like there are really bad days where I like really have difficulty trying to draw words out of my brain. So I never saw myself as an on-camera person. But for Ring the Belle, it just kind of happened. When I first filmed like my first episode of Ring the Belle, I just hated myself speaking. When I was editing, I was like, I hate my voice. I hate how I say some words. Like but I got used to it. So it kind of worked. Yeah. It worked to make me appreciate myself, which was great.
Yeah, I mean, everyone kind of has like those things about themselves that they're not the most proud of, or they feel a little uncomfortable, but learning to embrace them can really make a big difference. So. Yeah,
and then who knew that I was on camera for this NBC project too? So I guess it's kind of bleeding into my professional work too, which was a big blessing.
Yeah, so I mean, were you always interested in more of like the news side of media? Or did you really want to get more into like film and long form content outside of that in a more creative space?
I was always very interested in storytelling and, visual communications. And then when I was in film school, I quickly realized that I have no patience to make movies because I learned that in order to film like 3-minute scene, you were there for like 4 or 5 hours. And I'm like, this is not my path. So I decided to do more, journalism or digital content. So, which has a lot more short production cycle.
Definitely.
And the other thing that a lot of people don't know about movie making is that, if you're a director, you think you're like so artistic and everything. But a lot of directors' job is people managing. And like it's a difficult type of people managing because everyone in film industry are all artists. So everyone has big thoughts. And they all have like very big opinions. So people managing as a film director it was a big nightmare for me. Was not my forte. So I'm glad I'm doing something that's I can do more of my stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of yourself interjected with what you're doing, which I think is great. Yeah. And I also love the fact that, like, you have so many different interests, even outside of wrestling, that people will associate with you. Obviously, we see, like, the food culture on your Instagram. And then something that I always draw admiration to is your love of drag. So, obviously, being in Chicago, you have one hell of a drag scene around you. So, I mean, we have seen some great queens work with you as well. I mean, we've had Gonzalez on the local level and even some of the incredible stars from RuPaul's Drag Race, like a James Manfield and Kimora Hall. So, like, were you always kind of, like, into seeing the local scene and it just kind of blew up? Or how did that start?
No. So actually, no, I'm so incredibly honored to have so many amazing drag queens around me. And you know, Kimora Hall, we're like besties. We work a lot together. I make a lot of her video content. And obviously James Mansfield. She moved to Vegas. She used to be closer to me. She was in Milwaukee.
I know.
Yeah. So I mean, I love James, but so I had a YouTube show before Ring the Belle, but I was not in front of the camera for that. And before doing that YouTube show, I knew nothing about drag queens. I knew nothing, absolutely nothing. But I got to meet like everyone through that YouTube show because that blew up. So I met like Aquaria, like, I don't know, like Vixen, Shea Coulee, like everyone. So I got to meet a lot of amazing drag queens through that. And now I really appreciate it. I really, really appreciate it. And so excited to be in Chicago because the drag scene here is just really awesome. And what's great about drag queens and wrestling is that we gay LGBTQ people love dramatic stuff, which is like wrestling and drag scene. It just kind of, there's like a big shared interest there. So I think it was natural for me to bring in someone like Kimora or James Mansfield to talk about wrestling.
Yeah, and it's crazy to see how much, like, there are that parallels, because you have, like, the very, like, glamorous, like, crossovers, like Kimora Hall, like, mentioning, like, the fashion of wrestling. You have, like, the camp side of things. Really seeing all the different elements that go into performing really does translate between both industries, which has always been really cool.
And I don't know if a lot of my Ring the Belle audience know about this, but I filmed Kimora's audition tape. So I can say that I sent her to Drag Race. I mean, obviously, she herself is amazing, but I filmed her audition tape. And I also filmed the finale music video that aired on TV. So I was like, yes.
That is still crazy that we had, like, a quarantine period with Drag Race in general, just seeing, like, how everything switched from, like, the main production being on the soundstage in LA to just everything being virtual for a period of time. It's so bizarre. Yeah, so that's awesome that you've gotten to do so much. I mean, we've also seen you do some drag transformations on YouTube as well.
What did you think about that?
I thought the Luna Vachon one was phenomenal.
Thank you. Like, what about Sable one?
Sable was unclockable. Kimora Hall, if you are watching this, that's Sable. If you ever go back for All Stars, that's your snatch game. Like, honestly, it was fierce. Yeah. I loved it.
Yeah. I did a double take. I was like, wait. He's like, Sable's right here. It was awesome. I mean, you know Kimora, she takes her time with her makeup. It took like 4 or 5 hours. And what happened during that filming was that the last part where we did the drag reveal, that file disappeared. There was some file issue. The file crashed. So I was crying about it. It was absolutely disastrous. But I think the video turned out pretty good. So.
Oh, it still came out great. Kimora as a painter is just phenomenal.
Yeah,
like, when you think of like elevated looks, you think about glamour, she's one of the queens that will always pop up in my head, honestly.
And she's so nice. She's so nice, and she's such a nerd. Yeah. We talk about Pokemon all the time. Like, it's really
love
fun.
That.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm kind of interested. Your favorite Pokemon game over all the years? Because I have my own. I'm just very curious to see what yours might be.
I mean, mine is. I have to say, Sapphire.
Yep, mine was too, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Ruby and Sapphire is like my peak childhood. I remember going to a KB Toys with my own money to get a Game Boy Advance and Pokemon Ruby, and I played the hell out of it.
Yeah, no, Sapphire is my favorite. What's your favorite character or Pokemon?
So, I mean, not to be cliche, but Pikachu, but like even like out of like that game in general, like I loved Torchic and like the different evolutions of like Blaziken. Like, I felt like Generation 3 was just a really good generation.
Guess my favorite.
It's nostalgia for me. So like I could think about like even like the duds, like Wurmple, like everyone needs a Wurmple at some point in their life.
Guess my favorite Pokemon.
I'm gonna say Eevee.
Eevee?
I mean, think about like all the different evolutions Eevee has, like not fitting into one mold, really just doing whatever.
I hate Eevee.
Really?
Because I have such a selective issue. Like, I love every one of the Eevee evolutions, so I don't know. I usually go with Glaceon or Vaporeon or I'm blinking on the name, the pink one.
Oh, the pink one. Shoot.
Sylveon, right?
I don't know, because I was thinking Umbreon, the black one. Like,
I always have like issues picking one. So I hate Eevee because it gives too many choices. But my favorite actually is Gardevoir.
Ooh.
And I named my Gardevoir Dress because she's wearing a dress.
Well, there you have it. The Gardevoir named Dress. That's going to be the episode name. Awesome. So, I mean, kind of going into, like, the gaming side of things, were you ever much of a gamer over the years, aside from Pokemon, or?
You know what's really funny? Because I'm really freaking sad today, because I've been playing Elden Ring for 2 days, and it's kicking my freaking butt so much. I hate difficult game because I'm terrible at gaming, but I love gaming. So I love Pokemon. I love Sims. Sims is honestly like my peak type of game. I just want people to have like fall in love and go on dates. In that side, I really like Assassin's Creed recent ones because you could date people. I was dating this village baker. That was my favorite part of the game, not like going out and like killing people, I guess. But I love gaming. I do love gaming. And I really liked Arceus, Pokemon Arceus. I really liked it. Yeah.
I definitely feel like I need to get some of the ones on the Switch because I've been so out of the loop. Because like it feels like whenever I'm gaming, it has to be like I'm kind of the opposite. I appreciate the stories for stuff. I will watch people play them, but I know for me, I don't have the attention or like the skill to play the story. But I will play online multiplayer. So if there's ever like a time where someone needs to get some rage out at me with like a Call of Duty, or I mean, I grew up playing Tekken, so.
I love Tekken too.
Yeah, Tekken is my very first video game memory ever.
But I only play Tekken against easy computer.
That is fair. I've had a lot of time to like practice it, so I mean, hey, the whole point is just to have fun and beat things up. So
I know my life is already hard. Why am I doing hard mode in a game?
Exactly. The leaves are falling, the temperature's dropping, the wind's starting to blow, football's back on the screen. And more importantly, pumpkin spice coffee is in my cup. Now, you may be asking what coffee shop I'm going to get that. And I'm here to tell you that I don't have to. I get mine from Grinding Coffee Company, an LGBTQ+ owned company based out of Georgia that ships online nationwide throughout the United States. They house many different blends and flavors, whole beans, grounds, and even espresso for whatever your coffee needs are. Head on over to grindingcoffee.co and you could use code Jose for 10% off Grinding Coffee whenever you want to. Let them know I sent you, and I'm so grateful for Grinding Coffee for partnering with me for the last few years, and especially for today's episode. Thank you. So speaking of something else that, I mean, came easy to you, obviously it's just, we've seen so much over the last 4 years with Ring the Belle and just how far it's come. So, I mean, did you know you always wanted to do some sort of wrestling show?
No, not at all. I didn't think I would do, like, I cannot believe that sometimes I just have to think like, oh my god, I really interviewed Trish. I really sometimes like text Gail and Leah. It's just like freaking crazy to me. I never even thought about it, but I always enjoyed women's wrestling content growing up. I hate saying growing up, but it was growing up. Yeah. I was always growing up. I was listening to Jake and Chris and Aaron on Diva Dirt. Diva Dirt Weekly was so legendary. I love listening to it. I think I listened to it from like my middle school or high school years to like almost like I burned the MP3 files into CDs and brought it into the military because I couldn't bring my phone in there. So I would like listen to episodes in the military. Like I was such a fan. And then like there were a certain point after the Diva Weekly was gone, like I just didn't have a lot of wrestling content to consume to, and there's obviously a lot of wrestling podcasts out there, but I just never felt like, I mean, you know, like it just never, I don't know, like I didn't feel like the women's wrestling necessarily was represented as much as I cared about.
I agree.
Right, and then also a lot of the people I feel like, because what I like about Jake and Chris and Aaron was like I felt like I was their best friend, even though we were not at that point. Now I can call them my friends, which is again another thing.
Yeah,
really
it's crazy,
awesome.
like how like a lot of us go from like being listeners and like really appreciating.
Yeah.
Like, I text them all the time. Like, what happened?
And then I realized a lot of the podcasters out there that's just like general wrestling, I don't think I would be their friends, which is like, so I kind of wanted to start the channel because I wanted to talk about women's wrestling with other people. So that was kind of the reason why I started women's wrestling channel. And also it was like 2018, right? Like after Royal Rumble, things were just really heating up. So my interest in women's wrestling was just also peak. So I was just like, I really want to start talking to people about wrestling. So that was really the motivation.
Yeah, and I definitely remember like there being that lull like when Stevie Dirt Weekly ended in like 2016, where it's just like there wasn't like there was a podcast for women's wrestling at the time, but didn't feel like it had like the personality behind it. Like it was really just strictly about the wrestling. We didn't have like some fun storytelling elements to it. Like there wasn't. I mean, not everything needs character work, but I'd be lying if I didn't miss like hearing Jake do his China voice all the time and
that
Dixie Carter talking about the doubles in the train.
I did say I can never do that. So that will only be Diva Dirt. But yeah, no, but there were like a couple YouTubers and stuff. Like, there was like We Watch Women's Wrestling was there, but nothing that was like very regular that was there.
Yeah, there were a lot of ebbs and flows, I felt like, too. Even, like, with, like, the news sites, like, Diva Dirt was starting to slow down. Yeah. Squirts Look with Sirens was really focusing on a lot more of the independent side of things and, like, straight news, which was great. I know I was there for a brief period of time as well, but just, like, kind of felt like there wasn't so much a casual women's wrestling program at the time, and I think, like, right when Ring the Belle, like, came to be, it was, like, really good timing to be a casual women's wrestling fan because it felt like there wasn't so much to fight for, but there was a lot to still appreciate as well.
Yeah, and then as a professional perspective too, because you know I'm a content creator, like digital content person. I obviously saw like an opportunity. It was a blue ocean. It's a fandom with like a very passionate fandom, so you get a lot of great engagement. But there were no competitions, so it was definitely like a goldmine for me. So I was like, I need to get in there right away.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously it started out like with doing like different show recaps, different rankings. Like, I mean, that very first year, like, was that when you were starting to do like pay-per-view watch-alongs as well? Or was it really just some like the occasional video here and there as well, like every week?
Watch-along came a little later.
Okay.
I think watch-along came a little, but I think it started around the same time. But at first it was just news and rumor, weekly show review, Raw and SmackDown, because there was a simple time where there were only a couple shows a week.
And they were back to back, so you could get them over with right away, too.
Right. It was like Friday, Monday, right?
No, I think then it was still Monday, Tuesday.
It was Monday, Tuesday? So it was even better. Like, it was like Monday, Tuesday, so I just did review on Wednesday, and then we had like room for it to breathe. Simple times.
Yes. The good old days, some might say.
I mean, I love what's going on now. There's so much great content, but as a person creating it, it was very easy time.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, as things have progressed with the channel, you've called in some reinforcements as well, too. Obviously, sometimes it does take a village, and I like to think you have a pretty good village. I mean, you have Paloma Star, you have Joey Mayberry, you have Moxie Molly. So, like, how was it getting a lot of them on board to help out with the channel's personalities? Because there's so much love for each of the hosts, I find.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we had a Voldemort that we can't talk about.
Yes.
we can, but it didn't really work out. I think a lot of people really loved our chemistry because we really hated each other on air. But since that partnership was phasing out, Joey really came in to like help us out, and I was like mentally really distressed at that time. Like I really wanted to just kind of like stop it, because it was just stressing me. Like, wrestling was something that it gave me joy, but it was just really dark time. But Joey was really there to help me out, so I really, really appreciate Joey. And Joey Joey's a wrestler, so he knows that, like, wrestling side of the thing, but he's also a comedian, so he brought that kind of fun, comedic part, which was just awesome. And then Paloma came in, which was just God's blessing, because Paloma is absolutely amazing. And also the other thing is, like, nobody wants to see two men talking about women's wrestling, I feel like. We want that women's perspective, we want that workers' perspective. So I think Paloma was just that perfect yin and yang for me, that she brought so much to the table, which I always really appreciate. And Paloma's just a great, great person. Like, she's just an awesome person. So I love working with Paloma. She taught me so much I always really appreciate that. And Moxie Molly, she came in last, and she started the Wednesday night show, AEW NXT show with Joey, and their chemistry is just, they're both like, they got the theater stuff going on, so their chemistry was so good. So that I love all of them. It's just a great Ring the Belle family.
Yeah, and I love the fact that, like, it's such a diverse perspective because, I mean, you have, like, the fan side of things. You have the worker side of things. You have the women who are workers side of things, too. Like, you have something for everyone, I feel like, and it really helps to cultivate a nice community around the channel as well because just like with the product on TV, there's something for everyone to get attached to, and everyone embraces what they love in a respectful way, too, which I find very important. Just, you can like what you like, and if it's not your cup of tea, like there's ways to say it without just bashing it, which I think you guys do a very good job of, like when things are a little murky, making sure that you're still saying, hey, there's still other things that are positive and we're going to focus on those as well.
Yeah, and I love that, getting that diverse point of view is becoming more and more kind of a norm for wrestling media too, because I feel like when we first started, it was just very homogenous look for the wrestling kind of personality and the voices. But I think a lot of outlets started kind of realizing when they had to talk about, Becky Lynch taking time off because of pregnancy, or like the whole Me Too movement. A lot of them really struggled to talk about it, and then they really got onto bringing in a lot of diverse voice into it. So yeah, the change was happening.
Yeah, definitely. It feels like even in the last 5 years, we're seeing a lot more queer content creators in wrestling, a lot more women, a lot more BIPOC content creators as well, too, which I feel like has been long overdue. It's just a matter of time before we see that start to translate even more into the product than it already has started to. So there's still work to be done, but I have no doubt that we are going to keep changing this business like wildfire. So, I mean, you did kind of allude to some of it earlier, but I mean, these iconic interviews, I mean, there's been so many over the few years. I mean, you did mention the likes of Trish Stratus, Alita, Gail Kim, even most recently Rosa Mendez, who trusted you with her farewell interview from wrestling. Did you ever imagine just the rapport and the reputation you would have for having so many wonderful interviews?
I don't know about reputation, but I just really enjoy talking to them. I'm so glad that a lot of them just let me sit down with them and talk to them about their career. But Rosa and a couple of other women, I forgot it was my favorite moment is, and it happened with Rosa. Oh, it happened with Layla too. They were like, "Oh my God, I really thought the fans forgot about me." And they don't care, but they got so many so much love from the interview. That's my favorite time. Crystal too. I really love that because when I have the ability now to kind of give back the love that I got from them growing up, that is such an amazing feeling. What was the question again? Sorry.
No, it's just, I mean, did you ever imagine, just from that very first interview to now, one, how many different women you've gotten to speak to and just the reception? Did you ever imagine?
No, I did not imagine at all. My first interview, and I always thank her whenever I see her, it's Velvet Sky. She really had no reason to give me an interview. She really didn't. But she just decided to just give it to me. It was my pilot one, so the format was a little different, so I really need to do a second one with Velvet and Angelina. I would really like that. And then the Melina one was the one that really blew up, so thank you, Melina. Melina, I love you so much. But Melina talked about Naomi wanting to challenge her for Evolution, and that really it was just the time really worked out. It was just all over news headlines where Melina commented on it. So I can't imagine. I can't believe that this is all happening. I'm still very, very thankful about everything that happened and all the women that believed me and gave me their time of the day.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. On the Melina tangent, there's something that just popped into my mind. It also has to do with someone else that we'll discuss in a minute. But going back to NWA Empower, you got to be an extra for her entrance as a paparazzi member.
Yeah.
So how was that experience going to NWA Empower last year? With everything going on, really making a huge impact with all the different companies coming together with NWA.
That was there are some shows that you can just tell the atmosphere is different. Everyone's working together to make this product really awesome. And Empower was one of that. Like, you can tell that everyone's here to make something amazing. So I'm so lucky to be part of that whole weekend. Like, I was so thankful for Miki for inviting me, and even having me do that paparazzi stuff was absolutely amazing. And then right before we went up to do the paparazzi thing, we were backstage, and then we saw Awesome, because right before the segment was Awesome Kong retirement segment, and she came down and she was like just hugging everyone backstage. To witness that in person, it was amazing. So yeah, what a great moment. I cannot believe that we're not getting Empower 2. We're not getting Evolution 2. Like, what the heck is going on?
I don't know. I've seen some things about the 2023 calendar. I wouldn't say no Evolution 2 yet.
There are rumors, which I really hope is true, because I
hope so too.
will make sure that I'm going to be there.
Well, I think it's also phenomenal. You went to Evolution, you went to Empower, and you also got to do the last Knockouts Knockdown too. So, yeah. You talk about 3 very powerful women's pay-per-views for 3 different companies. I think those all stand the test of time. But even going back to NWA Empower, one of the legendary producers that we also kind of manifested a dream match for, the icon Jazz.
Yeah.
So how was it working with Jazz? And I mean, we also got to see this kind of documentary-style thing following Paloma and Jazz leading up to Paloma's dream match, which was having a tag match with her, I think, was it the beginning of this year or last year? I'm trying to think. COVID is throwing off my sense of time with a lot of things.
Me too. I forgot, yeah. I mean, it just all happened so organically. Like, Paloma genuinely freaking loves Jazz. So, like, whenever the chance was given, Paloma was just talking about Jazz. Like, none of it, like, everything just happened organically. And I just had to capture it. Because it was her dream come true moment. And I think it was magical. It was really magical. I really liked that video a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite memories, I think, with the channel, too, because it's around the time where it's, like, towards the end of Jazz's last run. We've got to see her tear it up in Impact Wrestling, really try to make the most of this last year. So I know, obviously, her knees are keeping her from continuing to go full-time, but just really showing, like, hey, what you did, even though one company might not acknowledge just how impactful you were, you changed the game for a lot of people in this business, and really giving her flowers.
Yeah, I mean, now that the regime has changed, maybe she'll come back. I don't know. I'm still manifesting for her to come back.
I would love for her to come back for Rumble, for Hall of Fame. Like, I think we need Jazz back in WWE in some way, shape, or form.
I really think so. Yeah. It's just wild. Like, all the women that I got to meet, and it's just really wild. I think about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
and
obviously,
a lot of them have no reason to be so nice to me. Like, they really don't, but they really embrace me. Like, it's a dream come true. I do really appreciate it.
I think it's just a combination of a couple things. Obviously, they've gone so long without having that kind of, like, recognition and, like, really a platform that highlights them the way that a lot of the men do, just because it was always not considered an equal product. It was never given equal time. People were very dismissive of it just because they felt like women in general were not at the same level, which I think is a load of bullshit. Obviously, we've seen, like, some of the best matches come from women. The best promos come from women. Like, you think of what gets people into the business, it's a lot of times it's the woman.
Yeah. So. And you know, what I am very proud about is, I don't like to toot my horn, but because I listen to all the other interviews before interviewing someone, so I can, like, study their story beforehand so that I could ask some good questions. So, but a lot of them, some of the questions that they're asked about is just, like, not researched well. It's not what the women's wrestling fans want to hear about. Like, so I was shocked to find out. I've listened to, like, I don't know, like 15 interviews about Alundra Blaze Medusa. Nobody asked her about. I think everybody asked her about her throwing the belt in the trash, but nobody asked her about, like, why she did that regarding women's wrestling. They always asked her about the politics with, like, I don't even know, like, Eric Bischoff or whoever. Like, I don't really care about that. I want to know why she did that as far as women's wrestling, and she never got to talk about that in any wrestling podcast, which was crazy to me. So I'm glad that I am there to ask wrestlers about what the women's wrestling fans are curious about. I don't want to freaking know about the Kat and Jerry Lawler. Like, I don't really care about this relationship shit that all these podcasts always try to be messy and ask. But, I want to know about what happened when Jillian Hall pushed Rosa Mendes away. I want to know.
Which, speaking of, I feel like Jillian Hall, if you haven't had a chance yet, that would be one that I feel like a lot of people would love to hear.
Oh, I always say that there are a couple wrestlers that I think I could interview the best right now in the world, which is just, I know it's like kind of arrogant for me to say that, but I truly believe Jillian Hall and Oksana and Alicia Fox interview will be best in Ring the Belle. I know it, because I'm going to give them the treatment that they deserve as a legend, as an icon, so they should come to me, not
yes.
I love you,
I would manifest for sure a Jillian Hall interview on Ring the Belle, because I could already imagine just like the different things that you could bring up. Obviously, like the iconic Divas Championship reign, going through the different eras, like really being from like one of maybe a couple women on SmackDown to really working with and trying to build up a lot of other women, having bangers on Superstars when they weren't allowed to really have them on Raw. Like,
I mean, I love you, Chris Van Vliet. I love you, Chris. You're amazing, but I feel like I would interview Jillian and Oksana better than you. I just, you can have other. You took awesome calls, so it was great. I mean, you did a great interview with that. Jillian and Oksana. I feel like I could do a little better.
Hey, never say never.
I love Chris Van Vliet, though. I do.
Now, Chris is a phenomenal interviewer. I got to meet him in Dallas. It was actually really cool getting to talk to him. So
he is.
Hey guys, Jose here. I bet you're wondering how I actually listen to episodes of Contentment Creation myself. Well, the great thing is that this podcast, as well as many other podcasts and your favorite songs, they're all available on Amazon Music. Amazon Music houses over 60 million of your favorite songs to stream across any device of your choice, be it your computer, mobile phone, any voice-enabled speakers, and so much more. And the best part is that all my listeners can have access to their free at least 30-day trial of Amazon Music today just by going to getamazonmusic.com/JoseCanYouSee. That is getamazonmusic.com/JoseCanYouSee, and you too can start streaming away today for your favorite songs and podcasts just like this one. Thank you so much to Amazon for bringing us this program today. Just even in the last 4 years, like a lot of changes have happened with content creation. Like we'll see ebbs and flows with like formatting and everything, different obstacles to overcome as a creator. I know recently you did have some trouble with YouTube with demonetization due to fair use of copyright.
Yeah.
So, I mean, coming from a communications background, like, how was it having to navigate that and coming out on the other side of it? Obviously, things are better now. You were able to get that overturned, but just kind of in the moment, how did all of that play out?
I mean, it sucked. I mean, because they just took away the monetization function for a couple of months, and there was like no warning. So make sure you guys have backup when YouTube rejects you. Make sure that it's always good to have that other kind of like I get to at least like vent about it on Twitter, so you make sure you have different platforms so you can like at least like not lose the other ones, because you never know what they're gonna do. Like I had this one time, this is completely other story, but I had this one time my Xfinity mobile just deleted my account by mistake. So I had no phone service. I called them, where's my account? Why can I use my phone? They were like, oh, like you don't exist in our database and you're not my customer. So what I'm trying to say is that you can't 100% trust these tech companies. So always have backup, create multiple platforms, and build your audience in different platforms. So when one thing messes you up, you can always have something else to rely on. But fair use, as a journalist, I have to be kind of knowledgeable about fair use, so it was embarrassing when that happened. But it was my most viewed video series, which was also the easiest to make, like those compilation videos. That was an issue, and the YouTube thought I didn't add enough value to make it into like or be considered as like the new creation, which I'm like, I don't disagree. I disagree, but whatever. If that's where you draw the line, I will happily delete them and continue my Ring the Belle journey.
Yes, because I know, I mean, obviously I have a journalism degree as well, too. So, like, I know the first things like that come up, like, is it transformative enough? Is it educational enough? Like, if we are going to use this content, how are we going to turn it into that content? So, I mean, however you were able to navigate it, you did it successfully. So, I mean, has there ever been any other times, even on your more professional side of things, where you might have had an obstacle like that, or even just something else where you were able to overcome it and really prevail in the end?
Yeah, I mean, copyright is such, like, it's a beast, and that's just something that I have to work on, like, every time. Even, like, when I'm making documentary, the documentary that I'm still currently working on is, I'm doing a 3-part documentary on Emmett Till for Peacock. So getting copyright, getting the copyrights for all the, like, old footage, that's always something that journalists and documentarians and videographers have to deal with, so it's good to learn about that. Yeah.
I mean, obviously. Go ahead.
And just to, I was Emmy-nominated for my Emmett Till documentary, so please go watch it. The first 2 parts are on Peacock, so I'm pretty proud of it. Yeah.
That is phenomenal. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I mean, do you have any idea of when the ceremony is going to be, for when you'll be able to at least hopefully get to present and receive said Emmy or manifesting an award?
Not sure, but I'll let you know.
Okay, we're rooting for you. Just know.
Thank you.
The Emmy-nominated, yes, Shin.
Yes.
It just has a lovely ring to it.
Yes.
So, I mean, obviously, we've seen so much over the last few years, and we've had so many lessons learned. Do you have any goals moving forward with Ring the Belle coming up?
That's like my biggest concern now. What's the goal? I don't know. I don't have any big goals with Ring the Belle as of now. I mean, if you ask me, my biggest goal would be, we're gonna have a Ring the Belle show, like physical show, and we'll invite people to wrestle, or like we'll have like an actual physical annual award show. I don't know. That might still happen. That's just just like wildest dream I have in my head, which I don't know. It might happen, it might not. But right now, my just daily goal is just to really enjoy what I do. You know, like, because there's so much wrestling happening, like every day. Every day.
It is every day now, practically, yeah. Yeah,
so it's kind of, sometimes it could be daunting, and doing this weekly, sometimes it makes you feel like it's work. Instead of like your hobby, it's for fun. So my goal is to just really enjoy this ride, and I'm also just doing all these like fun content on the side, which I probably wouldn't have done before. But like, what if I make AI draw wrestlers? Like just random content like that. I have this content with Sooyoung that's going up for Halloween, so it will probably be already out. It's just fun stuff. So I'm just enjoying my ride. I'm gonna go to WrestleCade in November, which I'm also really excited about. I'm just enjoying the ride. So we'll see. If I'll let you know if there's any like substantial goal that comes out. But for now, I'm just enjoying the ride.
Good. I'm glad. I mean, especially something like this, it should feel more like a labor of love than actual labor. And I think it translates with how everything plays out on our screens. So I can definitely feel the love for Ring the Belle.
Thank you. Because there's a time, because I was like, I interviewed Bianca Belair, the Raw Women's Champion. And like, I interviewed like Hall of Famers. And so I was like, what do I do after this? How do I like grow? So that is something I'm actually like thinking about a lot. Where does Ring the Belle as a content grow? So I'm always thinking about that. I'm always thinking about how do I go to the next level, do more fun content. So don't like if my Ring the Belle audience is seeing, I'm not just enjoying. I am thinking about stuff to entertain you more, but personally, I'm just really just enjoying the ride.
Nice. I mean, obviously, it feels like a lot of things going on nowadays are transitioning into even short form stuff. Have you thought about maybe incorporating a YouTube short here or a TikTok there?
Absolutely. So I honestly don't think I have enough time to do like
totally fair.
Instagram or TikTok. I know that Joey really wants to do it. I always was like, Joey.
I mean, Joey is like TikTok king. At one point, his previous account was 6-digit like followers. I mean,
I know.
If there's anyone to trust with TikTok, I think Joey's probably the first one I would go to.
I know. So I really didn't feel like I had enough time or like to really focus on Instagram. So I just decided to do more Instagram. Or I really decided to just do YouTube. But I am doing more, or at least I'm playing with Instagram or YouTube Shorts. So I recently posted a couple, like Rhea Ripley reacting to thirst tweets. It's doing well. So I'm testing it out. I'm always down for, because I worked at WWE for a little bit, and their strategy was they play with all the platforms that's out there, including Tout. Even though
never forget Tout.
Never forget Tout. So I kind of took that away from my WWE experience, and I'm like, I'm gonna at least figure out at least what everything does. But right now, I'm playing with Shorts. Yeah.
Nice. I mean, I'm excited to see whatever comes our way. I mean, there's been so much over the last few years. I know there's more to come. Was there anything that you think that you would be surprised looking back that maybe DS from however many years ago, even before even remotely thinking about Ring the Belle, like Sage, like fresh out of college DS, would he be surprised to know just the path that's unfolded in front of him?
Yeah, every day. I always think about how crazy everything was. You know what's really funny? I do not like rewatching Trish Stratus episode.
Really?
I don't, because it reminds me of how freaking nervous and how like I was losing my mind inside, because I was so nervous about the interview, because it was meeting her and interviewing her was literally like my childhood dream. So I could not, like, so I was so nervous. So when I watched the episode, that feeling comes back to me. So I don't really like watching that episode, even though it, I do love it. I think we had a really good chemistry. So yeah, everything's just kind of unbelievable. Everything's unbelievable. I'm very, very grateful about everything.
Good. I'm glad, because I feel like seeing how far things have gotten to go, like the people that really love your content speak volumes to it. You see them sharing it all the time. Like, it's something we look forward to, and just knowing that women's wrestling really does have a good, strong platform in today's day and age with the mainstream side of wrestling media. And I would say Ring the Belle plays a very large part in that.
Thank you. But also, the important thing I have to mention is that, growing up, I didn't have any friends that watched wrestling. So for me to do the pay-per-view watch party and have, like, I see the same people that comes in to join just to watch it with me, like, and it's awesome. It's awesome that I have so many friends online that watch live wrestling with me, that we joke around together. It's such a great feeling that I got to meet so many people. I'm not even just talking about wrestlers I met. I'm talking about all the people that I got to meet through Ring the Belle. It is such a bless. So I'm very happy about that.
Good. You have so much to be proud of. We're all looking forward to how the channel continues to grow and how you continue to grow as well. So, I mean, where can people find you?
Yeah, I mean, you can find me at Chicago Boys Town.
Nope.
I live right there. I live right across from the strip club, right next to a bathhouse. Literally, I live right next to a bathhouse, which is.
I mean, that's your pick of the trade. Let's be real.
No, people, like, before, when I was on Grindr, like, right now I'm not, but they always thought I just was at the bathhouse. So much. But you can find me online on Instagram at DSShin and Ring the Belle DS on Twitter. Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much, DS, for hopping on this episode. Let us know what your thoughts are on this episode. Be sure to share this one, give it a like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube channel, give us 5 stars on the podcast platforms, follow the show at Conway Creation, follow me at the Jose Can You See, and I will see you on the next episode. Take care, everyone.